Hunter and an injured ball player for the Wildcats, and we'll try to check and see who it is. Willow Canyon opened back in 2003. And getting up a little bit slow that time, Casey Placido. So Placido getting up a little bit slow. I can hear myself over there. So Placido getting up a little bit slow. It's going to be close. But I do not believe the Devilcats got the first down. They needed 10. And they got just about 9. So the Wildcats will take a first down and 10 from their own 39-yard line. Dominic Deem, Jr., the quarterback, out of the shotgun, and first down and 10. Wildcats from their own 39-yard line. A handoff going left this time. DeMarcus Jenkins, and he has stood up after a gain of about 5 out to the 44-yard line. So some good defense by the Devilcats. Luke Ramirez, one of the leading tacklers for the Devilcats, helping out on that stop. It'll be second down and 6 for the Wildcats from their own 43-yard line, trying to add to a 6-0 lead to the Wildcats after a 48-yard opening drive that they didn't recover an onside kick, but it was kicked to the near side, and somehow the ball got loose right under the canopy. Weren't able to see it, and it was recovered by the kicking team, the Wildcats. They lead it 6-0, 5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Second down and 6. A handoff again going to DeMarcus Jenkins over the left side. He's close to the 45-yard line and taken down on the play by J.J. Smith. In fact, they really don't credit him. Maybe gave him a yard at best. It'll be third down and 5. Wildcats from their own 44, and it appears the Wildcats will call a timeout to see what they've got going on. At 12 p.m., it'll be the 7 and under group of kids. The Wildcats out of Surprise against the Arizona Devilcats, the 7 under group out of Glendale/Peoria. 2 p.m., 13 and under, the AZ Crush out of Casa Grande against 13 and under PV Hitman out of Prescott Valley. 72 degrees out here. If you've enjoyed today's broadcast, click like and subscribe to our channel APN Video. So the second possession for the Wildcats, they got an onside kick in essence. That in fact was the end of the opening quarter. So reminding people that there is no scoreboard being operated here. So no, we're just estimating the time clock, and of course we're keeping track of the score. But when you've got a lot of running at this level, rather than the passing, the clock is going to go very fast. So that is the end of the first quarter. It was not a timeout. They switch ends, 6-0 in favor of the Wildcats on the 5-yard pass from Deem to Hunter. And it's third down and a long 5 for the Wildcats from their own 44-yard line. Dominic Deem Jr. is the quarterback. Spread the field, 2 receivers, 2 in the backfield. They need their own 49 for a first down. Deem rolls to his right, being chased, going to take off, and he's tackled for a loss of maybe about a yard. Bryant combining on that tackle, leading the charge amongst others. So on fourth down, and we'll call it about 7, the Wildcats from their own 42-yard line, they need their own 49. Max Sanchez Guerrero back deep to return this punt of Hunter Miller. Mentioned not a lot of punting going on in 12 and under. But Sanchez Guerrero back deep to return this punt of Hunter Miller, who scored the only touchdown in the ball game. He gets that punt off. It's a good knuckleball. Bounces at the 38-yard line. It bounces forward, and Sanchez Guerrero gets that, and a big menacing hit by Dewan Hamero. It was a 21-yard punt, and that ball bounced backwards, and a good job by Max Sanchez Guerrero to hold on to that ball. Well, if you can get a good long snapper, which I guess the Wildcats do, and the good punter Hunter Miller, you can punt rather than giving the ball over deep in your own territory potentially. Second possession of the game for the Devilcats. On the season, they are 3-1. First down and 10, Devilcats in their own 41-yard line. Early stage of the second quarter, they trail at 6-0. Mercado out of the shotgun. They hand off to Sanchez Guerrero going right. Breaks into the secondary. Still on his feet inside the 30. Breaking tackles and finally taken down on the far side right around the 12-yard line. 47-yard run for Sanchez Guerrero around the right side. A big-time run, officially 46 yards for Max Mustache Sanchez Guerrero, and a timeout is called by the Wildcats. So the Wildcats leading 6-0, about 8 minutes remaining in the opening half. 5-yard touchdown pass from Deem to Hunter Miller, giving the score for the Wildcats early on. The rest of the coaching staff for the Wildcats mentioned head coach, offensive coordinator Felix Hamero, Anton Hamero, the defensive coordinator / linebacker coach, James Martinez, offensive line, defensive line, also D and O line, Zach Vataco, Freddie Erico, defensive back, wide receiver, and coach Eli Martinez, the team moms, Erica Erico, Tiffany Martinez, Vanessa Hamero, Megan Alves, and then water mom, Kayleen Jenkins, and daughters Michaela and Juliana. Photographer is Crystal Ruiz. So they've got a nice group of people working for the Wildcats. Already mentioned the Devilcats family of coaches and players. So after the 36-yard run by Max Sanchez Guerrero, it is first down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 13-yard line of the Wildcats. Mercado goes out of the shotgun. They're trying to tie the score, maybe take the lead on this possession. A handoff going left is Sanchez Guerrero trying to get to the outside. The ball pops loose. It is scooped up and racing back the other way. One man to beat, and that is Jacob Ross. Stays on his feet and finally taken down right around the 30-yard line. Mercado made the tackle. We've got an injured player back for the Devilcats, the running back who was hit hard and fumbled the ball, Max Sanchez Guerrero. Unofficially, a 50-yard fumble return for Jacob Ross. And Max Sanchez Guerrero getting hit pretty hard on that run for the Devilcats. The ball popped loose. I didn't actually see. Jeff, did you happen to see who forced the fumble? Maybe on the replay. It was Jacob Ross for the Wildcats that picked it up, but trying to look at two people at once. It was Hunter Miller that forced the fumble, and then the fumble was picked up by Jacob Ross, and he took it 50 yards down the right side, and good field position, first and 10 for the Wildcats at the 30-yard line of the Devilcats. So the Devilcats turned away and fumbling. And the Wildcats poised to add to their 6-0 lead, first down and 10 at the 30-yard line of the Devilcats. Handoff going left this time is Placido trying to get to the outside. Maybe got a yard at best, and a tackle made by Zeke Francis. No gain on the play as Francis coming up making the stop. It'll be second down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 30 of the Devilcats. Guys to keep an eye on for the Devilcats on defense: 56 Francis, Luke Ramirez 0, Rob Martinez 16, J.J. Smith among the leading tacklers for the Devilcats. Second down and 10. Wildcats, the Devilcats, 30-yard line. Deem goes out of the shotgun. They hand off the running back again going right. Placido is taken down on a big hit by Travis Crossan. Casey Placido getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a 2-yard loss on the big stop by Crossan. It'll be 3rd down and 12 for the Wildcats at the 32 of the Devilcats. 6-0 in favor of the Wildcats. They scored in their first possession after getting essentially a fumble on the opening kickoff, going 48 yards, culminating on a 5-yard touchdown pass Deem to Hunter. The extra point was no good. And we've got movement on the line. It appears probably that the Devilcats in the white were offside. It'll cost the Devilcats 5 yards, making it 3rd down and 7 for the Wildcats at the 27 of the Devilcats. So you've got the 12 and under junior Wildcats out of Surprise. They're 2-1. The 12 and under AZ Devilcats from Glendale/Peoria. They are 3-1. 4-down territory. Again, mentioned no clock, no scoreboard, so kind of estimating the time clock in our heads with a lot of running plays at the 12 and under stage. There will be, the clock will run fairly quickly. Be 3rd down and 7 for the Wildcats at the 27 of the Devilcats. Deem out of the shotgun. He looks to throw, throws over the middle into traffic. It's intercepted by Crossan, and he will bring it back. Breaking tackles down the near sideline. Has one man to beat is Deem. Finally taken down by Hunter Miller all the way down here inside the 30-yard line. They're going to mark him out at the 30, a penalty marker back deep at the 27-yard line. The return will be for 60 yards unofficially if it does count, unless there was a block in the back, whatnot. The penalty marker back at the 29 of the Devilcats. So an interception for Travis Crossan. The penalty marker is still just sitting back at the 29-yard line, not really. Well, now the referees are discussing it. I guess right around 4 minutes remaining in this first half, 6-0 in favor of the Wildcats, and a 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Hunter. Hunter Miller. So it appears there will maybe be a block and back against the Devilcats. This 60-yard return is not going to count for Crossan. The interception, I believe, will stand, but possibly a block in the back, a hold. That appears to be what it'll be against the Devilcats. So in essence, a 75-yard penalty against the Devilcats. It was a 60-yard interception return by Crossan. Rather than them getting at the 30-yard line of the Wildcats, it's 1st down and 10 Devilcats from their own 14-yard line. So actually a 66-yard penalty in essence. It was marked off the hold, or the clip marked off from the spot. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats from their own 19-yard line. Mercado out of the shotgun with 4 receivers, a low snap. It is picked up by Sanchez Guerrero, who goes to his right, now cuts back to his left, trying to get to the outside, and finally grabbed and taken down around the 25-yard line by Danny Quiros. So a good job by Sanchez Guerrero cutting back. He had nowhere to go to his right and then cut back to his left and picked up about 11 yards, making something out of nothing. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats from their own 25. They trail it 6-0. Wildcats leading on the 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Miller. Guessing right around 3 or 4 minutes remaining in the half. On the season, the junior Wildcats at a surprise are 2-1, and the Devilcats are 3-1. Devilcats in the white, Wildcats in the dark blue. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats in their own 25-yard line. Eddie Mercado, wearing number 5, is the quarterback. Max Sanchez Guerrero lines up to his left with 4 receivers on 1st and 10. Sanchez Guerrero goes in motion. Mercado a pump fake and a quarterback delay. Breaking a couple of tackles, stays on his feet here to the near side and picks up the first down before ridden down by Danny Kuros of the Wildcats. You got some big kids at this 12 and under age. Much more mature than I remember when we were still playing in the playground around this age. It's enough for a first down for the Devilcats. 1st and 10, Devilcats in their own 35. They trail it 6-0. Latter stages of the first half. Wildcats scored on their first possession after getting essentially, wasn't an onside kick, but a fumble that they recovered on the opening kickoff, went 48 yards, culminating in a 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Miller. 1st down and 10, Devilcats in their own 35-yard line. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero goes in motion. 4 receivers, they swing it out of the backfield as Sanchez Guerrero has all sorts of running room, has the first down, and Mo Gores forward down the right sideline inside the 30. He's going to go all the way for a touchdown. Max Sanchez Guerrero going all the way for a touchdown, 65 yards. That's his second big run of the day. His prior one was for 36 yards, and we are tied at 6 just before halftime as the Devilcats get on the board. 65 yards on that little pass. Screen pass to the right side of Sanchez Guerrero. Again, extra points when they try to kick it, it counts for 2. When they try to run or pass it, it goes for a 1-point conversion. The Arizona Devilcats will go for the 1-point conversion. Mercado out of the shotgun. Gabbert to his right, who now shifts. Mercado hands off to Gabbert. He fumbles the ball, and the extra point, 1-point conversion, is no good. We are tied at 6 right before halftime. So a 65-yard pass to the right side, mainly running with Sanchez Guerrero. The extra point try for 1 point was fumbled. It was no good. So just before halftime, we're tied at 6. Willow Canyon High School in the 12 and under matchup. The junior Wildcats at a surprise against the Arizona Devilcats out of Glendale/Peoria. So back deep for the Wildcats, Danny Kuros here on the near side. And the kickoff man scheduled to be Landon Bryant for the Devilcats. So Bryant has it on the tee. Frederick Errico on the left side and Hunter Miller on the near side to return it for the Wildcats. Bryant, an onside kick to the far side. That pops up. It is picked up and grabbed by the Devilcats down the far sideline to the 22-yard line. A tremendous onside kick, and it was scooped up. And racing down that far sideline that time was Braden Gabbert of the Devilcats. Couldn't have seen a better onside kick. It hopped up. He grabbed it and raced down the right sideline right around 30 yards. The ball be spotted the 22 of the Wildcats. We're tied at 6 just before halftime, and the Devilcats with an opportunity to take the lead after that perfectly executed onside kick and the run by Gabbert. So a pretty evenly matched ball game so far. We're tied at 6 just before halftime. Wildcats scored first in a 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Miller. Then just recently, moments ago, the Devilcats tied it on a 65-yard touchdown pass, basically a little screen pass to Sanchez Guerrero. Both extra points no good as both teams went for a 1-point conversion, so we're tied at 6. Just before the half, Willow Canyon High School out here on the far side of the Phoenix metro area, opened in 2003. The 12 o'clock game will match pair of 7 and under teams, the Wildcats out of Surprise and the Devilcats, the Arizona Devilcats 7 under team out of Glendale and Peoria. Then a 2 p.m. game. AZ Crush 13 and under out of Casa Grande against 13 under PV Hitman out of Prescott Valley. Devilcats first down and 10 after that big onside kick at the 22-yard line of the Wildcats. Out of the shotgun, a handoff. Nothing doing that time as they hand off to Sanchez Guerrero. And a big stop that time. Bradley Thomas leading the charge along with Hunter Miller, who got that touchdown early on. A loss of 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 17 for the Devilcats, the 29 of the Wildcats. 70 degrees out, expect to get later on to 82. We're tied at 6 just before halftime as Eddie Mercado, the quarterback, brings in the play wearing number 5 for the Devilcats. 2nd down and 17. Max Sanchez Guerrero lines up to the right of Mercado, goes out of the shotgun with 4 receivers on 2nd and 17. Mercado has pressure, steps up, going to take off himself, racing to his right, and shot out of bounds inside the 20 by Danny Quiros, also being chased by Hunter Miller. They're going to mark him out around the 15-yard line at gain of 14 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd down and 3 for the Devilcats, the 15 of the Wildcats. Wildcats in the dark blue and in the white and gold, the Devilcats. 4-down territory pretty much at all these lower levels of, under the high school level. Not a lot of kicking going on. If you can find a kicker, a snapper, and a holder at this level, you've got something extra in your pocket. 3rd down and 3 for the Devilcats and the 15 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero lines up to his left. Man goes in motion, the end around, they hand off to Crossan, trying to get to the outside. Penalty marker comes in. He's taken down around the 11-yard line that time by Bonsall. Well, check that, I should say. It was Crossan on the carry and taken out by Jenkins, but this might be coming back. We'll see what the penalty was. Just before halftime, that was enough for a 1st down, should it count. Well, this will go against the Devilcats. They're going to move it back. There will be no 1st down. We're tied at 6 just before halftime. It's going to be a holding penalty, I believe, and a big one. Going to move it all the way back to the 28-yard line. They need the right around the 11 for a 1st down. The marker on the far side is showing that 2nd down and 16. 2nd and 16 for the Devilcats at the 28 of the Wildcats. Tied at 6 just before halftime. Mercado out of the shotgun. 3 receivers. Mercado on a delay inside to Sanchez Guerrero going left. Lost the handle on it. And he will retain possession of it. And it was Austin Taylor. The Wildcats just about picked up that fumble, but it was recovered by the ball carrier, Max Sanchez Guerrero. And a gain on the play of 8. The chains on the far side showing 4th down and 8. Ball will rest at the 20-yard line of the Wildcats just before halftime here at Willow Canyon High School, way out on the far side of Phoenix. Tied at 6. 4th down and 8 for the Devilcats at the 20 of the Wildcats. So a costly penalty thrown in. 4th and 8. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero lines up to his left with 4 receivers. Mercado hands off to Sanchez. Guerrero going right, trying to get to the outside. Chased and taken down after just a 1-yard pickup by DeMarcus Jenkins. A gain of 1. They needed 8, and on downs it'll go back over to the Wildcats just before halftime, tied at 6. So a gain of 1. They needed 8. It'll be first down and 10, Wildcats from their own 19-yard line. Mention no clock being used on the scoreboard or as far as the time clock nor scoreboard, not working whatsoever. So we're tied at 6, estimated just before halftime. It'll be first down and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 19-yard line. They scored first in the 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Miller, then a 65-yard touchdown pass, Sanchez Guerrero, basically a little screen pass to tie it at 6. First and 10, Wildcats from their own 19-yard line. Dominic Deem Jr. out of the shotgun, a handoff straight ahead, and maybe, well, not really much on that whatsoever. The handoff inside went to Casey Placido, and a timeout is called for the Wildcats. Some good defense inside, led by Rob Martinez. So the Wildcats, after the timeout, facing a second down and 10 from their own 19-yard line. Tied at 6 just before halftime. Right around 70 degrees, expected to get to 82 this afternoon out here on the far side, west side of Phoenix in Surprise. Willow Canyon High School, which opened in 2003. If you're enjoying today's broadcast, click like and subscribe to our channel, APN Video. On the season, the junior Wildcats are 2-1. The Arizona Devilcats in the white uniforms are 3-1. So the Wildcats facing second down and 10 from their own 19-yard line. Casey Placido will be the running back, the lone running back, with Dominic Deem Jr. will go out of the shotgun. 2 receivers. Handoff to Placido inside. Slipped a couple of tackles, but gang tackled for a loss maybe of a yard. Penalty marker flies in. The mix that time was J.J. Smith, amongst others, crossing for the Devilcats. It'll be a loss of 2 on the play. A penalty marker sits on the near hash marker on the 16-yard line. Who will it go against? The Wildcats will get the ball to start the second half. We're tied at 6 just before halftime. Referees conferring after the penalty. The run was a loss of 2 on the play for the Wildcats. They're waving off the flag, so no penalty. It'll be third down and 12. Wildcats back of their own 16-yard line. They can't afford to turn it over deep in their own territory here before halftime, tied at 6. The Wildcats will get the ball first in the second half. They need their own 29-yard line for a first down. Dominic Deem Jr. is the quarterback. DeMarcus Jenkins, wearing number 1, lines up to his right in the backfield with 3 receiver. Miller, the tight end, goes in motion, gets it on the end around. Nowhere to go, and he's taken down back at the 13-yard line. Crossan coming up. Travis Crossan, big man, coming up and making the tackle back around the 14-yard line. It's going to be a loss of 2 on the play, so some great defense for the Devilcats. It'll be fourth down, and we'll call it about 16 for the Wildcats back of their own 14-yard line. They did punt it when they were forced with a fourth down prior, deep in their own territory. It was Hunter Miller who scored the only touchdown for the Wildcats, who punted it away. We'll see what happens here. And now a penalty marker comes in, as I believe it's going to be a warning, or it's against, well, maybe one of the fans for the Wildcats. So it sounds like one of the fans may be mouthing off for the Wildcats. That can happen, but it's best to try to keep your mouth shut. And a man going down with a beard, a Wildcat fan. They're going to eject the fan. Not quite sure what he said, but the fan of the Wildcats here on the near side is being ejected out of the ball game. Well, some of the fans get carried away, but he's been kicked out, the fan of the Wildcats. We're tied at 6 just before halftime. Well, back when I was in Little League, at least my brother, they had a parent that would really get mouthy and he was kicked out all the time. One of the coaches. It was like 10 and under or whatever. Well, sometimes people can get fired up. We're tied at 6 just before halftime here as the junior Wildcats tied with the Arizona Devilcats, 12 and under ball. It's 4th down and 16 for the Wildcats from their own 14-yard line. Depending on the exact amount of time left in this first half will depend on what they do. Timeout is called by the Wildcats. They did punt at one time, a 20-yard punt by Hunter Miller. But they're going to decide, have a talk and see what they're going to do. Wildcats scored first after getting the kickoff that was fumbled here on the near sideline, went 48 yards for a touchdown, culminating with a 5-yard touchdown pass deemed to Miller. Then midway through the second quarter, a little screen pass to the right from Mercado to the running back Sanchez Guerrero went 65 yards for a touchdown. Both teams were not able to get their extra points. Hunter Miller will punt it away. He will stand back at close to his own goal line as the line of scrimmage, 4th down and 15. Max Sanchez Guerrero back deep to return this punt for the Devilcats. Hunter Miller stands back at his own 6-yard line to punt it away. Has time on a good end-over-end kick. Fielded the 42-yard line. He fumbled it, and it's going to be picked up by the Devilcats, and racing to his right was Joey Ornelas. 28-yard punt. Ornelas picked it up and ran it 2 yards on the return, and it was bobbled by Max Sanchez Guerrero. Unfortunately for him and the Devilcats, it was not recovered by the Wildcats. So it'll be a short field for the Devilcats. 1st and 10 at the 40 of the Wildcats. We're tied at 6 just before halftime. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 40 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun, 3 receivers. Sanchez Guerrero out of the backfield makes the catch, and he's going to be taken down. Nothing doing on that play as Hunter Miller leading the charge that time, and it's going to be a loss of 3. And Miller, one of the top players for the Wildcats, coming up a little bit lame, but appears to be okay. A loss of 3, 2nd and 13 for the Devilcats at the 43 of the Wildcats. Tied at 6 just before halftime. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero to his left. They hand off the running back Sanchez Guerrero going to his right. Taken down by Hunter Miller, but penalty marker comes in. It was a tackle for a loss, and not quite sure what the penalty is going to be. It's going to go against the Wildcats. Maybe a horse collar. I'm not quite sure what that was. So rather than a tackle for a loss, the Devilcats will have it 2nd down and 5 at the 35-yard line of the Wildcats. Didn't see any signal, did you? No. 2nd down and 5, Devilcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. He will look to throw, has time, lofts it deep down the near side into double coverage intended for Jordan Valdez-Cormos. And Mercado showing an excellent arm on that long toss down the left side into double coverage, and a timeout is called. Well, in fact, that is the end of it's not a timeout. Not a whole lot of real assertive signals by the referees. So it's halftime here between the 12 and under junior Wildcats and the 12 and under Arizona Devilcats. We're tied at 6 here at halftime. The Wildcats scored first in a 5-yard touchdown pass, Deem to Miller. The extra point no good. They tried to run it in, then tying it at 6 midway through the second quarter. Little quick pass to the right, 65 yards to Sanchez Guerrero. The extra point no good. So here at halftime, we are tied at 6 in about a 10-minute break, so back momentarily. Welcome back, everybody. Eric Anderson along with Jeff Lowry. Way out on the west side of Phoenix, Willow Canyon High School in Surprise opened in 2003. We're tied at 6 as we start the third quarter. The Wildcats scoring first on a 5-yard touchdown pass from Deem to Miller. And then midway through the second quarter, a 65-yard short pass to the right flat to Sanchez Guerrero. He took it the 65 yards running most of the way to tie it at 6. Both extra point attempts were no good. They both tried to run them. Well, the Wildcats tried to pass it, weren't able to get it, and the Devilcats tried to run it in, but neither one were successful. At this stage here, if you try to kick it, which they have not, neither team, it goes for 2 points if you run or pass it. It goes for 1. Jacob Ross Landon Bryant will kick off from right to left, an onside kick that bounces up on the far side. I don't think that went 10 yards, a penalty marker on the far side. The coin toss at the beginning of the ball game was won by the Devilcats, so the Wildcats receiving here to start the second half. That onside kick to the far side by Landon Bryant was maybe touched before it went 10 yards. So a penalty marker. They may make the Devilcats kick it again. Nevertheless, I'd imagine the junior Wildcats will get good field position. Referees discussing things. They haven't been real assertive as far as signaling what the actual calls have been, but doing a good job. It appears, well, it'd be nice to get a signal to see exactly what did happen. My guess was the ball didn't go 10 yards, but let's see what they're going to tell the coach here. The ball is going to be spotted at the 49-yard line of the Devilcats, signifying, I believe, that the Devilcats touched it before it did go 10 yards. So the Wildcats will have great field position, 1st and 10 at the Devilcats' 49-yard line. Of course, the Devilcats in the white and gold, and then the dark blue, the Wildcats. Tied at 6, first play of the third quarter. Dominic Deem Jr., the quarterback, out of the shotgun on 1st down and 10 with 2 receivers. They hand off going right this time and bouncing to the outside. Casey Placido, and nothing doing, and a big tackle by the Devilcats' Travis Crossan. It's going to be a loss on the play of 5. Casey Placido nowhere to go that time. It'll be 2nd down and 15. Crossan doing a great job on defense. Mainly believed to be playing in that left linebacker position for the Devilcats. Loss of 5. 2nd and 15 for the Wildcats, now back at their own 46. Dominic Deem Jr., the quarterback, out of the shotgun. Casey Placido, 23, the running back. They pitch it to Placido going left. Has a little bit of a slither and gets back that 5 that he lost initially. Tackle made by Lorenz on the play, as well as Zeke Francis. So he got back the initial 5 yards that were lost on the prior play, setting up 3rd down and 10 for the Wildcats just over midfield. We're tied at 6, early stages of the third quarter. The Devilcats in the white. The Art of Glendale / Peoria. The Wildcats out of Surprise. 3rd down and 10, Wildcats from the 49 of the Devilcats. Out of the shotgun. They fake it, now hand off in the backfield. They give it to Jacob Ross, and he is hit and eaten alive by Luke Ramirez. Nothing doing on that play. It's going to be a loss of 6 on the play. 4th and 16 as the Wildcats going backwards. They've had a good time being able to punt with Hunter Miller, and imagine he's going to punt it away to Max Sanchez Guerrero, who's back deep for the Devilcats on 4th down and 16. Wildcats back at their own 45. So Hunter Miller has punted twice, will punt it away on 4th and 16 for the Wildcats. I think the biggest thing at this level is getting somebody that can snap it long enough to get a punt off, where you need to be back at least 13 yards so you don't get it blocked. So that is pretty important. A penalty against the Wildcats now sets them back at their own 39. Miller to punt it away. And that a very short end-over-end kick to the far side, and it will go out of bounds. Well, it takes a roll down to the 45-yard line. Just a 16-yard punt, but that's better than what I've seen around here at times, where maybe you're only going back 5 yards because of somebody that, they don't have a kid that can snap it back far enough. But that's a lot better than taking a loss or not getting any yards, going for it on 4th down and 16, but a 16-yard punt by Hunter Miller, and Devilcats will set up shop 1st down and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Tied at 6. Here are the about 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Wildcats scored first in their first possession after recovering a fumble on the kickoff. 5-yard touchdown pass deemed to Miller. Then midway through the second quarter to tie it at 6, 65-yard touchdown pass to Sanchez Guerrero for the Devilcats. 1st down and 10 Devilcats from their own 45-yard line. Mercado goes out of the shotgun, 4 receivers. He will look to throw, lofts it deep down the left side, and what an arm. A little bit too long for Sanchez Guerrero. Tell you, keep an eye on Eddie Mercado. He has thrown a couple of balls very, very well deep down the field. Amazing how some of these kids, 12, 13 years old, that guys to keep your eye on. Both of the 1-point extra point attempts, which were either run or passed, were no good by either squad. That's why we were tied at 6 with about 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 2nd down and 10 for the Devilcats. They're in the white, Wildcats in the blue. Devilcats from their own 45-yard line. Mercado again out of the shotgun, 3 receivers. This time they swing it out to Sanchez Guerrero on the right side, and he races forward and picks up a 1st down. And picks up, they're going to give him about 10 over midfield to the 45-yard line of the Wildcats. That was the same play that produced the 65-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter from Mercado to Sanchez Guerrero. Max, his nickname is Mustache, has a full mustache pretty much at age 12. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 45 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun, 4 receivers. See what they do on 1st down. He throws into traffic. It is complete to Crossan. And he picks up about 8 yards, tackled by Hunter Miller around the 37-yard line. Also an assist from DeMarcus Jenkins, a gain of 8 to Hunter Miller in traffic. He's the tight end. 2nd down and 2 for the Devilcats. At the Wildcats' 37-yard line. Mercado again out of the shotgun, 4 receivers. 2nd down and 2. Mercado tried to dump it off to the right side to Sanchez Guerrero, nearly picked off by Bradley Thomas for the Wildcats. That would have gone back the other way. So breathing a sigh of relief are the Devilcats and quarterback Eddie Mercado. 4-down territory, 3rd down and 2 for the Devilcats at about the 37.5 of the Wildcats. We're tied at 6. About 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. The 12 p.m. game is a 7 and under game, matching the Wildcats' surprise. The 7 under group of the Wildcats here against the AZ Devilcats, 7 and under. 3rd down and a long 2 for the Devilcats at the Wildcats' 37. Mercado out of the shotgun. Gabbert goes in motion. Mercado heaves it deep down the middle of the field and just a little bit overthrown for Max Sanchez Guerrero. He was looking back into the sun, and I bet he didn't see that ball. That's my guess. He looked like he maybe couldn't glimpse that ball looking back into the sun. He was open, but my bet dollars to donuts he couldn't pick the ball up with the sun. Nice throw by Eddie Mercado, who throws just a tremendous ball. It'll be 4th down and a long 2 for the Devilcats. The Wildcats 37, tied at 6. About 6 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Mercado out of the shotgun, 3 receivers near side, 1 to the far side, and offside right defensive end for the Wildcats, Bradley Thomas. That'll be an automatic first down for the Devilcats. So the Devilcats get a gift. Offside for the Wildcats and the right defensive end, Bradley Thomas, trying to get a head start. So move the chains, 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 32 of the Wildcats. Tied at 6 here, right around halfway through the third quarter. The Devilcats have been throwing quite a bit on this possession, so that'll stop the clock. Max Sanchez Guerrero lines up to the right, and Mercado goes out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. 1st and 10. Mercado again will go to the air, throws inside, and it's complete. And staying on his feet, picking up the first down and more, and a gain of about 16. In traffic, there is Landon Bryant. So a 15-yard gain to Bryant. And move the chains again, 1st and 10 for the Devilcats at the 15 of the Wildcats. The Devilcats were threatening in the opening quarter, but a fumble by Guerrero or Sanchez Guerrero kind of turned that one away. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats, the Wildcats 15. And we've got a whistle, and a timeout is called by the Wildcats. Midway through the third quarter, we're tied at 6. The Wildcats scoring first in their first possession after getting a fumble on the opening kickoff. 5-yard touchdown pass from Deem to Miller. Then the extra point, no good. They tried to pass it in, didn't work. Then midway through the second quarter, the Devilcats tied it at 6 on a little screen pass to the right side to Sanchez Guerrero. He ran it 65 yards. The extra point going for it on the run was no good. So right now, tied at 6 midway through the third quarter out here at Willow Canyon High School. At 12 noon, it's the 7 and under teams. The Wildcats, the 7 under team of lower of this Wild. It's the same teams, these two teams playing here, but it's their 7 and under group. So 7 under kids, I see them getting ready down the Devilcats underneath on the north side. The 7 under group getting ready. 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 15-yard line of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. Guerrero Sanchez to his left with 3 receivers. Mercado will look to go to the air again, lofts it here to the near side into the end zone. And it is caught for a touchdown. Travis Crossan with 2 men all over him. It goes for 15 yards. And just like that, the Devilcats take a 12-6 lead. Midway through the third quarter, 15 yards. Tell you, Mercado throws a great ball, and that one, Travis Crossan went up with double coverage, made the catch. So it appears the Devilcats, they will go for a 1-point conversion. If you try to kick it, it goes for 2. It is 12-6 Devilcats. Here midway through the third quarter. Again, no operating scoreboard, so we'll have to estimate the time. The Devilcats will go for a 1-point conversion. Mercado discussing things with the running back lined up to his right, Zeke Francis. They hand off to Francis inside, and he's in for the 1-point conversion. It is 13-6 in favor of the Devilcats. So Zeke Francis coming in at fullback, getting that carry and taking it in for the 1-point conversion. 13-6 Devilcats here midway through the third quarter. Devilcats trying to increase their record to 4-1. The Wildcats stand at 2-1. For the Wildcats, back deep. Here on the near side is, well, we'll take a closer look. Landon Bryant will do the kicking for the Devilcats. Kiros back on the near side to return this kick, and on the far side, Placido, and this is an onside kick again to the far side. Ball pops loose, and who's going to get on this one? Jordan Valdez Cormos came away with it for the Devilcats, but let's see how the referees sort it out. It should remain with the Wildcats, but the referees conferring. Right around 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter, approximately. The Devilcats leading 13-6. So the Wildcats will take over first down and, well, let's see. It appears that the Devilcats will get the ball. Well, hold everything. Yes, the Devilcats did recover the onside kick. The referees give it to the Devilcats, lead 13-6 here midway, well, more like the closing moments of the third quarter. Eddie Mercado, the quarterback, wearing number 5 for the Devilcats. 1st and 10 at the 43 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. Tosses it into traffic and unable to hold on is Travis Crossan. Good defense for Hunter Miller. A 13-0 run by the Devilcats. They trailed it 6-0 right out of the box. Closing moments of this third quarter, 13-6 Devilcats. 13 unanswered points for the Devilcats after they got behind 6-0 early on. 2nd down and 10, Devilcats at the 43 of the Wildcats. 3 receivers split out to the far side, one to the far side, 3 to the near side. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero goes in motion. Quarterback delay going right as Mercado, the quarterback, gets to the outside. He's gang tackled right around the 32-yard line, but that should be enough for a first down and a gain of 10. Couple of guys are down on the far side. Getting up a little bit gingerly, Bradley Thomas for the Wildcats. And another Wildcat is down as they double-teamed Mercado, the big quarterback, as he took it for the first down. The ball player for the Wildcats maybe had the wind knocked out of him. He's on the far side. Being attended to by the coaches for the Wildcats. So it'll be Austin Taylor who got up after maybe getting the wind knocked out of him for the Wildcats. It will be enough for a first down as Mercado on the quarterback keep around the right side picked up 10. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 32-yard line of the Wildcats. Devilcats on a 13-0 run, or 13 unanswered points after recovering the onside kick. 1st and 10, Devilcats at the 32-yard line of the Wildcats. Devilcats leading 13-6, later stages of the third quarter. Mercado's got a tremendous arm at quarterback, and switching to the right of the quarterback, Max Sanchez Guerrero. 4 receivers. Mercado on the handoff. Sanchez Guerrero trying to get to the outside. He's going to be chased out of bounds just inside the 30 that time, and DeMarcus Jenkins leading the charge that time with an assist from Jesus Cuellar. A gain of 4, well, we'll say 3. Gain of 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7 for the Devilcats at the 29 of the Wildcats. And warming up behind the goalpost down to our left, the 7 under AZ Devilcats. 2nd down and 7, Mercado out of the shotgun. Man comes in motion, is crossing. Handoff to Sanchez Guerrero, slips a tackle to the right, slips a second tackle, and taken down close to the first down marker by Hunter Miller. A gain of right around 7 yards, down close to, well, they mark him down at the 21-yard line. Little mix and match in the backfield there, as Max Sanchez Guerrero getting 7 yards. He scored the first touchdown for the Devilcats on a 65-yard short pass to the right side. He ran the majority of the way, and that, I believe, and that will be the end of the third quarter. It is 13-6 in favor of the Devilcats. The Wildcats scored first to make it 6-0 on a 5-yard touchdown pass. Dominic Dean Jr. to Hunter Miller. The extra point no good as they tried to pass it in, came up empty. Then second quarter, 65-yard touchdown pass, Mercado to Sanchez Guerrero, and a short pass in the right flat. He ran it the whole way, pretty much 65 yards. The conversion was no good to tie it at 6 at halftime. Then here in the third quarter, 15-yard touchdown pass, Mercado to Crossan. Extra point was good. Running it in was Francis, and that's where we stand here as we switch ends. The Devilcats trying to add to a 13-6 lead here as we start the fourth quarter. Again at noon, it'll be 7 and under competition. The Wildcats out of Surprise against the AZ Devilcats out of Glendale/Peoria. 2 p.m. it'll be 13 and under action. The AZ Crush out of Casa Grande against the PV Hitman out of Prescott Valley. Devilcats 1st down and 10 at the 21-yard line. Mercado rolling to his left, tries to get to the outside, slipped one tackle and taken down on the far side around the 27-yard line by Hunter Miller, who's been all over the field. A loss of 7 on the play. So not much doing on that. Tristan Burke, 17, also disrupted things on the far side. In fact, they're going to credit that with a loss of 8. 2nd and 18 for the Devilcats at the 29 of the Wildcats. Starting moments of the fourth quarter. Devilcats trying to add to a 13-6 lead. Mercado out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. Sanchez Guerrero to his right in the backfield. A toss here to the right side to Crossan, makes the catch. Penalty marker comes in. He races down the near sideline and into the end zone for a touchdown. He'll go for 29 yards if it counts. A penalty marker on the play. In the vicinity of possibly holding. Yeah, hopefully get a signal. Referees conferring to see what that flag was as it sits near the 30-yard line. Waiting for the signal from the referees. If it stands, it'll be a 29-yard touchdown completion to Crossan. Well, what's it going to be? It appears it will go against the Devilcats. Referee's still trying to figure it out. And that one will be coming back. No touchdown. It'll be marked at the 31-yard line, I believe in the vicinity of a hold. So the touchdown, 29 yards to Crossan, will be called back. Not really. It'll be 2nd down and 20 as the Devilcats will try it again. Mercado, the quarterback, a big guy with a great arm. Also, Travis Crossan, number 13, a big target for the Devilcats. 2nd down and 20 for the Devilcats, the 31-yard line of the Wildcats. Devilcats leading 13-6 here, early stages of the fourth quarter. Mercado out of the shotgun. Throw is left side, going up is Crossan, making the catch. He's thrown down immediately by Jacob Ross. That was into traffic, and it was a gain of about 7, making it 3rd down and 13 for the Devilcats at the 24-yard line of the Wildcats. They need the 11-yard line for a first down, obviously 4-down territory. Even with the 13-6 lead, you start to look at think about the clock a little bit. 3rd down and 13 for the Devilcats, the Wildcats 24. Mercado out of the shotgun. He will look to throw with a man in his face. Fires here to the near side. A penalty marker comes in, and that a little bit short for Caden Chavez at the 20-yard line. Well, see what they call this one. The game has kind of slowed up a little bit. There's been some penalties and injuries, so it's 11:24. We're an hour and 24 minutes into this one. 4 10-minute quarters. And the officials, they're taking a lot of time with their calls, trying to get it right. Cats head coach trying to find out what's going on. Jeff, you did a little bit of at least umpiring, didn't you, with Little League and whatnot? I did that too. Can be tougher at the lower levels than it is at the major league level, probably. At times with parents are getting irritated. Not sure really what the call.
I don't understand why they can't make hand signals.
The referees have not, as you said, the referees have not made hand signals. Well, it appears there was no penalty on the play because it's 4th down and 13 after the incomplete pass. Devilcats at the 24 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun, has pressure, races to his right, eludes one man, and now taken down here on the near side of the 26-yard line. A great open field tackle by Casey Placido. Mercado couldn't find anybody open, and he ended up losing 2 yards on that play. A great open field tackle by Placido. And on downs, the Wildcats will take over. 1st and 10 from their own 26, trailing 13-6. I'm guessing 6 or 7 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. No operating scoreboard. Yeah, with the referees and the injuries, the game is slowed up a little bit. Wildcats first down and 10 from their own 26-yard line. Dominic Deem Jr., the quarterback, out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. Man goes in motion is Aiden Paulson. And now we've got a stoppage of play and a penalty. I would guess yes, and the guess is right. It is against the offense, I'd imagine, for motion. It'll be 1st and 15, the Wildcats from their own 21. Wildcats got out to a quick 6-0 lead on the 5-yard touchdown pass Deem to Miller, and since then 13 unanswered points for the Devilcats. 1st and 15 for the Wildcats back in their own 21. Deem out of the shotgun, 4 receivers. He will look to throw, has pressure, steps up, loses the ball, and we've got a scramble for it at the 20-yard line. And the ball will belong to the Devilcats. Picked up by Landon Bryant of the Devilcats. It'll be the Devilcats' ball at the 20-yard line, and got an injured member of the Wildcats going down. Here on the near side. The 2 touchdowns for the Devilcats in the second quarter to tie it at 6. 65-yard touchdown pass to Sanchez Guerrero, then a 15-yard touchdown pass from Mercado to Crossan. So Mercado with a pair of touchdown passes. The extra point was good. Dominic Deem Jr., the quarterback, was shaken up on that one for the Wildcats, and he will come out. Well, they're done anyways after the fumble. So the Devilcats will have great field position, 1st and 10 at the Wildcat 20-yard line. Devilcats leading 13-6, guessing around 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter probably. Maybe even less. They can keep the ball on the ground, and if the Devilcats can score, they could wrap this one up. Mercado out of the shotgun. Max Sanchez Guerrero lines up to his right with 3 receivers. 1st and 10, Devilcats at the 20 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. Hands off to Sanchez Guerrero, in trouble in the backfield. He got away that time from Hunter Miller and races down the left side, breaking tackles. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. And it's going to count. Max Sanchez Guerrero breaking several tackles, particularly one in the backfield by Hunter Miller, and it goes for 20 yards, a second touchdown of the afternoon for Sanchez Guerrero. And midway through this fourth quarter, it's now 19-6. Devilcats on a 19-0 run, so to speak. They've outscored the Wildcats 19-0. They will go for a 1-point conversion, will the Devilcats, I would guess. Zeke Francis, the running back to the right of Mercado, goes out of the shotgun. He scored on a run the last time for the 1-point conversion. They do it again, and this time he's not going to get it. Hit in the backfield by the Wildcats' Leonardo Ruiz. So the score will stay 19-6 Devilcats. Midway through this fourth quarter, we've got an injured Wildcat down after that 2-point conversion, or the 1-point conversion try. So there have been quite a few injuries, nothing serious so far. The injuries and referees taking their time, and it's kind of slowed the game down a little bit, but 19 unanswered points for the Devilcats. They lead at 19-6. Guessing right around 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. The noon game is a 7 and under matchup between the Wildcats out of Surprise and the Devilcats out of Glendale/Peoria. Bradley Thomas shaken up for the Wildcats after that 2 or 1 point conversion try. Landon Bryant will kick off for the Devilcats. Back deep on the far side, Danny Kuros wearing number 7 for the Wildcats. And here on the near side is Frederick Erico. Oh, sorry. So Landon Bryant, they've been very successful on onside kicks. Kicking off for the Devilcats, and I'd imagine he'd probably try it again. And he does. Man, it takes a great hop, and who wants that ball? It appears the Wildcats did recover it. These onside kicks have been as good as they get. Now the Wildcats, DeMarcus Jenkins claiming he had it, but in fact it was the Devilcats given the ball. Not sure who exactly came out of there, beg your pardon. But nevertheless, after all was said and done, the Devilcats come away with another onside kick recovery, and you couldn't get better onside kicks at any level. So the Devilcats really can just run the ball and run this timeout as they lead at 19-6 here, right around 3 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. First down and 10, Devilcats at the 42 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. He swings it out of the backfield to Sanchez Guerrero. Slips one tackle, gets to the outside, picks up a block inside the 20. 10-5, he's into the end zone for a touchdown. 42 yards on the catch and run by Sanchez Guerrero, his third touchdown of the afternoon. Picked up some good blocks. Mercado with 3 touchdown passes, and right now it's 25-6 in favor of the Devilcats. 25 unanswered points since they got behind early on the opening drive by the Wildcats. 3 touchdowns scored for Sanchez Guerrero. The other one was Crossan. And 3 touchdown passes for Mercado. So 25-6 Devilcats. They're 1 out of 3 in 1 point conversions. They've run it in with Zeke Francis, number 56 in the backfield. He didn't get in the last time, but the prior time he did get the 1 point conversion. Let's see what they do here. Crossan goes in motion, and this play doesn't get off the ground. Penalty marker in motion or offside on either side. We'll see what it is. It will be motion against the Devilcats, so it'll be an 8-yard 1 point conversion that they will try. 25 unanswered points for the Devilcats. Trying to run their record to 4-1. Wildcats led it 6-0, but 25 unanswered points for the Devilcats behind 3 touchdowns by Sanchez Guerrero, 3 touchdown passes from Mercado, and Crossan also catching 15-yard touchdown pass. Devilcats will try for a 1 point conversion. Mercado rolls to his right, looks to throw, throws towards the end zone, and no good, is unable to hold down the back right corner of the end zone, Landon Bryant. So the score remains 25-6 Devilcats here in the closing moments of the ball game. Game is a minute, or I should say an hour 36 long right now. The success of the onside kicks have been very big, particularly for the Devilcats. See if they try another one here. They've recovered just about every one. Landon Bryant has done a great job kicking off with the onside kicks for the Devilcats. Quiros and Frederick Erico back deep, but they haven't kicked anything deep. Bryant's been kicking onside kicks every time and been very successful. The Devilcats to kick off. Here we go again. This one is not going to go 10 yards. It goes out of bounds at the 45. And that will be Wildcat ball at the 45 of the Devilcats. And another injured member of the Wildcats. There hasn't been any serious injuries, but been a lot of guys going down. .25 unanswered points for the Devilcats. They lead at 25-6. Closing moments of the ball game. Game time temperature was 70 degrees. Expected to get to 82 later on. So one of the Wildcats being attended to on the far side. Head coach Felix Hamero over there. Again, the game at noon is the 7 and under group. Wildcats against the Devilcats. 2 p.m. it's 13 and under. Connor Elvis is the injured player, but he's coming off okay for the Wildcats. Just shaken up a little bit. The Wildcats will have good field position, but trailing 25-6. They're running out of time here late in the fourth quarter. The onside kick went out of bounds on the far side at the 45 of the Devilcats. Not quite sure what the referee is doing, bringing the ball, if they're just switching balls out. I guess that's the situation. So the Wildcats running out of time. They trail at 25-6 here in the later stages of the fourth quarter. Danny Quiros, number 7, will be the quarterback now for the Wildcats. First down and 10, Wildcats at the 45 of the Devilcats. Quiros has pressure, being chased here to the near side, gets to the outside, picks up a couple, steps out of bounds here on the near side around the, well, depends on where they mark him out, chased out by Zeke Francis. Good job of tiptoeing the sideline. He ended up picking up 9 yards. Was Quiros on the quarterback keeper. It'll be second down and 1 for the Wildcats at the 36 of the Devilcats. Quiros in at quarterback, wearing number 7 for the Wildcats. On second down and 1, Casey Placido, the tailback. 4 receivers. Quiros looked to throw, ran into one of his own men. Now he's going to take off, picks up the first down and more down the near sideline, cuts it back into the grain, breaking tackles, one man to beat inside the 10, the 5, and he's into the end zone for a touchdown. A 36-yard spectacular run by Danny Quiros, who had come in at quarterback here on this possession, the first possession he's been in on, and it's now 25-12 as the Wildcats on the board here in the later stages of the ball game. So Quiros comes out after running the 36-yard touchdown run, and Dominic Deem Jr. will come in at quarterback. Well, Kiro stays out there. Deem is also in there, number 10. And I believe a timeout will be called. Not much time left in the ball game. It's 25-12 in favor of the Devilcats. Calling the game. Oh, a timeout. I don't know. The referees haven't been real assertive with their calls. Not really being decisive with signals. So Danny Quiros with a tremendous run coming in at quarterback for 2 plays that last possession and broke several tackles and cut back to his right and ran 36 yards for a touchdown. So Deem will be in at quarterback for the Wildcats as they will try a 1-point conversion. Casey Placido will be the tailback. So 2 backs in the backfield as Deem goes out of the shotgun trying for a 1-point conversion. He'll look to throw and fires complete to the far side, complete to Bradley Thomas for a 1-point conversion. And in the later stages of the ball game now, the Wildcats trailing 25-13. And they're in need of an onside kick recovery. It's one thing when you don't know the exact time remaining in the ball game, you know, how much, you know, to really see exactly how much there is, but it is the closing moments of this ball game. So the Wildcats in deep need of recovering an onside kick. Brody Bonsall, number 13, will do the kick. Well, actually, Casey Placido will come in. He will do the kicking. On the far side, crossing for the Devilcats here on the near side is Max Sanchez Guerrero, who has 3 touchdowns this afternoon for the Devilcats. So Placido will try the extra point, or I should say the onside kick, I would imagine, for the Wildcats. A couple of late additions, guys not in their proper spots on the kickoff team, getting in at the last second. Placido's will try the extra or the onside kick, and that is a high hopper and fielded here on the near side, the 41-yard line by Max Sanchez Guerrero on that Sunday hop. So the Devilcats can really, this very later stages of the ball game, again, no clock, no scoreboard operating. The Devilcats leading 25-13. Well, either just keep it on the ground, take a knee. Not much time at all left in this one. So the Devilcats 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. Eddie Mercado with 3 touchdown passes this afternoon, the quarterback for the Devilcats. 1st down and 10, Devilcats from their own 41-yard line. 4 receiver set. Mercado goes out of the shotgun. A long count. Dumps it off to Sanchez Guerrero. Couldn't hold on. It was nearly behind the line of scrimmage. They were looking to stop the, have the catch and run it to run some time off the clock. That one worked for 65 yards earlier in a touchdown. So not much time left in this one. Again, no scoreboard, but fans of the anticipating the end of this one. Second and 10 for the Devilcats from their own 41. They lead 25-13. Mercado out of the shotgun with 4 receivers. He will look to throw again, lofts it down the middle, and this is nearly intercepted. Intended for Max Sanchez Guerrero and nearly intercepted by DeMarcus Jenkins. Kind of surprised the Devilcats are throwing, unless I'm losing my mind. I think I've been keeping score all right. They are leading 25-13 here in the later stages of the ball game. Kind of surprised they're throwing the ball. That's the disadvantage of not having the clock working or the scoreboard working, not able to tell exactly how much time is left in this one. But the Wildcat fans are hoping that there's time left as they trail it 25-13 here late in the fourth quarter. Devilcats facing a 3rd down and 10 from their own 41, and surprisingly they threw on both those downs. And now facing a 3rd and 10 are the Devilcats, leading 25-13 here in the final moments of the ball game. Eddie Mercado with 3 touchdown passes will work out of the shotgun. Max Sanchez Guerrero has 3 touchdowns, lines up to his right in the backfield, 4 receivers on 3rd and 10. Devilcats from their own 41-yard line. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero goes in motion, a long count. And delay a game, I guess, against the Devilcats. So the Wildcats showing emotion. I mentioned not sure just how much time is left. But the Devilcats facing a 3rd and 15 from their own 36. They lead at 25-13. A little bit frustrating not to have that game clock. Got to check with the referees to see how much time. 3rd and 15 for the Devilcats back in their own 36. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez. Well, now their penalty comes in. This game is going to run overtime. Noon is the scheduled time for the 7 under ball game, and we're at 10 minutes to noon. A 5-yard penalty against the Devilcats. They call a timeout facing a 3rd down and 20 from their own 31-yard line. This game is really slowed up. The Wildcats leading 25-13. Or I should say the Devilcats leading 25-13. 3 touchdown passes for Mercado of the Devilcats. 3 touchdown runs or catches and run for Sanchez Guerrero. Crossing a 15-yard touchdown reception from Mercado. Touchdowns for the Wildcats. Deem a 5-yard pass to Miller. Then in the fourth quarter here, a 36-yard touchdown run by Quiros, who came in at quarterback. 3rd down and 20 for the Devilcats from their own 31-yard line. Devilcats leading 25-13. They need the opposite 49 for a 1st down. 2 penalties on this possession, as well as a couple of incomplete passes. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero makes the catch behind the line of scrimmage, and another penalty comes in. This is really slowing up now. That's, again, going to be on the Devilcats. 5-yard penalty to be 3rd and 25. Devilcats back at their own 26. They lead at 25-13. Final stages of the fourth quarter. Referees are keeping track of the clock. We're not able to know what it is. 3rd and 25, Devilcats from their own 26-yard line. Sanchez Guerrero goes in motion. Again, 8 penalty. The 4th penalty on this possession for the Devilcats, but this is, in fact, going to be against the Wildcats. It is offside. So a slew of penalties here in the later stages of the ball game. 3rd and 20 now for the Devilcats from their own 31. A game that seemingly won't end. The Devilcats leading 25-13. The 7 under group down to our left behind the goalposts for the Devilcats are ready to go. 3rd and 20, Devilcats from their own 31-yard line. Mercado out of the shotgun. 5th penalty in a row as going across the line, Leonardo Ruiz for the Wildcats, and it's offside. So the offensive penalties are now being reversed on penalties by the Wildcats of being offside. 5 penalties in a row after 2 incomplete passes. 3rd and 15, Devilcats from their own 36. Mercado out of the shotgun. A long count. And now I believe a timeout is called by the Devilcats. The next game is at noon, scheduled to start in 7 minutes, but that'll start a little bit late. It's the 7 and under teams of the Wildcats and the Devilcats. Right here, it's 25-13 in favor of the Devilcats. We've had at least 2 timeouts called on this possession, 5 penalties, 2 incomplete passes. And we're nearing the end of the ball game. Devilcats leading 25-13, facing a 3rd and 15 from their own 36-yard line. Mercado out of the shotgun. Sanchez Guerrero to his right in the backfield. He goes in motion. Mercado going to run it himself, going to take it off. Has the first down and more, and taken down over midfield here on the near side by Hunter Miller. A gain of 22 as Cuellar getting up a little bit slow for the Wildcats. The Devilcats should be able to run this ball and run this clock out. Like I said, there's no working scoreboard, but it's getting very close to the end of the ball game here with the Devilcats in possession, leading 25-13, and 1st and 10 at the Wildcats' 42-yard line. The 7 and under teams are ready to go. Scheduled to go in 5 minutes, but that'll start a little bit late. 1st and 10, Devilcats, the 42 of the Wildcats. Mercado out of the shotgun. He's going to look to throw again. Throws a bomb deep down the left side into double coverage. Goes incomplete. Nearly picked off by Errico and intended for Braden Gabbert. It is a little frustrating not to know the exact time remaining in this game, as the Devilcats continue to throw the ball, leading 25-13, which you would think at the closing moments, I don't think I'm losing my mind or I'm in the twilight zone. I'm starting to feel that way, though. Second and 10 for the Devilcats at the 42 of the Wildcats. 25-13, Devilcats leading it. Mercado out of the shotgun, rolls to his left. Has pressure. Tries to get away, throws on the run, incomplete on the far side, not out of bounds at the 37, intended for crossing, guarded by DeMarcus Jenkins. Kind of surprised, assuming there's not much time left in the ball game, that the Devilcats keep throwing the ball. They've thrown on about every play, at least 4 on this possession, other than the quarterback run for the first down by Mercado. Then you, I don't know, I'm starting to feel like I'm in the twilight zone. 3rd down and 10 for the Devilcats at the 42 of the Wildcats. Handoff to Sanchez Guerrero, the running back, going left, and he's dragged down for maybe 1 yard loss by Bradley Thomas. Been a lot of injuries that slowed things up. Yeah, it's a good point. I've kept pretty good track of the score, but you'd think that that the Devilcats were trailing. And we'll see who the injured member of the Devilcats is. It was Max Sanchez Guerrero running it. He may have be down. No gain on the play. The Devilcats will be facing a 4th down and 10 as they lead at 25-13 here later stages of the ball game. The 7-under game will start late. That was set to start at noon, and right now it's 2 minutes to 12. Max Sanchez Guerrero with 3 touchdowns. Mercado 3 touchdown passes for the Devilcats. It is Max Sanchez Guerrero getting up, and he's going to come off a little bit lame. That doesn't look good. Might be his leg, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, they carried Max Sanchez Guerrero over to the bench. He lost a yard on that play, setting up 4th down and 11 for the Devilcats at the 43 of the Wildcats. They start the clock. Wildcats leading 25-13. Well, now they move that chain back. It's 4th and 12. Ball sits at the 44 of the Wildcats. Devilcats in possession. Mercado out of the shotgun. See if they continue to throw it. Now that was a false start. The center didn't snap it right away. So the game has gotten a little bit sloppy here at the end as far as a lot of penalties. That will go against the Devilcats, costing them 5 yards. It's 4th and 17 now. Devilcats at the 49 of the Wildcats. Seems like this game should have ended long ago. Wildcats leading 25-13. 4th and 17. Devilcats of the Wildcat 49. Mercado out of the shotgun. Handoff to Zeke Francis going left. Now cuts back to his right and taken down by Taylor as well as Thomas. A gain on the play on the 4th down carry, a gain of about 1. Well, where are they going to mark it? Now they're going to mark it down around the 46-yard line, a gain of 3 for Zeke Francis. This game is 2 hours and 1 minute old, including the halftime. Now I'm not understanding what they're doing with the the clock, or I should say the chains on the far side. The So the Wildcats will take over as the Devilcats ran it on 4th down and 17. 1st and 10 Wildcats from their own 47-yard line. They trail at 25-13 later stage of the ballgame. Kuros, who had the 36-yard touchdown run in at quarterback, gets a snap. Has pressure, hit as he throws. A wobbler is up, and it is intercepted by Eddie Mercado. Kuros, the quarterback, was hit hard as he goes down. Intercepted by Mercado of the Devilcats, and it almost seems like somebody's been injured on every play. The only one that almost seemed serious was Max Sanchez-Guerrero, the running back for the Devilcats, but now Kuros, the quarterback for the Wildcats, is down after getting hit when he unloaded that ball. It sure would be nice to know how much time is left in this thing. And that is it. Game finally gets over with the Devilcats winning it by a score of 25-13.